my bed to the floor. 5, 6, 7, 8. Will today be rough or will today be great? 9, 10, 11, 12. Lately I've been going through hell. 13, 14, 15, 16. Today's the day. Are you coming? Are you sick of being normal? I'm sick of being average. I'm sick of being mortal. I'm about to be a savage. I see a lot of things that I want, I will have them. I got a new mindset that I just established. I'll march through the cold with the nails on the pavement. I'll shovel that coal just to get out the basement. My story will be told, helping others make changes. I'll be so bold, they will watch in amazement. Am I gonna face it? Am I gonna chase it? Am I gonna start or will I keep waiting? Time is limited, quickly fading. Get my mind right, it's my time to take it. Am I gonna face it? Am I gonna chase it? Am I gonna start or will I keep waiting? Time is limited, quickly fading. Get my mind right, it's my time to take it.
Yo, how y'all doing tonight? So our audience is divided because some traitorous atheist, can't trust atheist, is doing a live stream tonight while I'm normally on. And he knows my schedule because he's in my audience every week, every day. That's okay. I'm not bitter. It's all right. Tonight we're going to be doing some base camp. Yeah, let's get to it.
These through programs like...
Hello, Simone. It's exciting to be here with you today. We have news articles about us all the time. Just yesterday, we had a big feature in the Washington Post. But news features on us, they often mischaracterize us. And I've come to expect that from the mainstream media. But we had one from Salon on us recently that was the most... It almost felt like the person writing it was screaming the entire time they were writing instead of like actually writing it.
Yeah, the author Amanda Marcotte just seemed kind of unhinged through the whole thing. Like, just
her picture on Twitter is, by the way, her cat. Yeah. But I want to get an understanding of, like, before we get into this, because this is just going to be amazing. Like, it is amazing, this piece. When I got my Google alert on this, it said Malcolm Collins.
I don't understand why I'm not. Why I don't have a bigger audience. I don't understand why I'm not. I'm not a bigger deal because look, this is the kind of shit that I do.
They used
so
the quote where I said,
whatever.
You know, my wife does.
Fuck you all for not watching me more.
Risk with every pregnancy, and that's something that I appreciate. And of course, the point I'm making there is I appreciate how hard pregnancy is for women and that there are real risks.
Oh, sorry. No. Malcolm, you're a white man. There's no way you can win this. But actually, I found the article so objectionable. I want to go through it line by line. Because one, I think anyone will find it entertaining. Two, I think it exemplifies a lot of ways
I love
that
her outfit.
The left misstates pronatalism.
I absolutely love her outfit.
And also just what the Trump administration and conservatives in general are doing anyway.
Well, so I don't know. Okay, so you got to get this from the Trump administration.
We need to set the record straight. We need to
the lovely young press person who Trump has right now.
I was made aware of the funding from USAID to media outlets, including Politico, who I know has a seat in this room. And I can confirm that the more than $8 million taxpayer dollars that have gone to essentially subsidizing subscriptions to Politico on the American taxpayers' dime will no longer be happening. The DOJ team is working on canceling those payments now. Again, this is a whole of government effort to ensure that we are going
I get it. This is lore.
Line.
I get that this is lore. But we're this close to getting the future that we all want. The war with machines from Terminator that we never got to see in any of the sequels. Cyberpunk 2027. We're there. We're right there. We have Doge. We have Elon. We have machines that can do things. We're right there. We're right there. I know that Democrats don't like Trump, but let him take it a little bit further. We're right there.
When it comes to the federal government's books, and this president and his team are making decisions across the board on Do these receipts serve the interests of the American people? Is this a good use of the American taxpayers' money? If it is not, that funding will no longer be sent abroad, and American taxpayers will see significant savings because of that effort.
So don't be expecting that money anymore.
That is amazing.
We have since found that they had been funding anti-Gamergate stuff. We found that they were funding anti-Live of TikTok stuff. We found, we'll have a separate episode where I really want to collect all the receipts on this because this is like this huge scandal.
Okay.
But they sent $4 million to the New York Times. What are they doing that for? This is where the USA, this is where your tax dollars were going to create all of this nonsense. As we've also shown, Reddit largely astroturfed by the Fed as well. Wokeism doesn't exist. That's why the one thing the Fed forgot to do is to put a layout for some money to buy these video games that the companies were making for this audience. One of my favorite things that Asmongold did recently, another guy was talking about this. The guy we have a big overlap with.
We're going to watch a little bit of Asmongold later.
This really was like all of this pushback, all of this insanity, they came for our video games. Never should have touched the video games.
That's where they crossed the line.
That was when they crossed the line. We were all just in our rooms, not political. You came for the video games. But I want to get to this piece because this piece is insane.
Yeah. So it is time.
Coming for the video games and the comic books was really stupid. That was really stupid. That was our only outlet. So you gave your enemies a reason to watch what you were doing. Bad mistake.
Titled, Elon Musk's war on Head Start childhood education exposes how quote-unquote pro-natalists are really anti-woman. So let's go into it. Thank you, Amanda Marcotte, for that beautiful. Oh, amazing. And actually the subtitle of this article quotes you, Malcolm. Quote, "You do not want to give money to women," unquote, declared one leader of the movement to make more babies. Beautiful. I'm
going to start with the section that focuses on us because it will better demonstrate to our audience how intentionally lying the author of this article is writing for a mainstream newspaper, which I think will be shocking to you because if you aren't close to a subject of a piece, you can sometimes think, well, maybe the truth is in between. Maybe they're just being bombastic. And I think this shows just how just straight lies pretty much everything you read in something like Salon is.
On Tuesday, the Washington Post published the approximately billionth profile of Simone and Malcolm Collins, whose entire existence is built around getting soft-focus media coverage meant to misrepresent the toxicity of their natalist ideology. Okay, first off, that's insulting because we actively try to
be
bring in negative coverage. We ask people, like when journalists come, we're like, hey, make this controversial or no one's going to read it. So soft focus, excuse me? Ouch. She continues, the two are thin, wear nerdy glasses, and repeatedly swear up and down that they're neither racist nor sexist, which is often enough for the credulous audiences to code them as, quote, liberal, unquote, or at least not MAGA, which...
We are the most MAGA!
Why does she have to point out that we're thin? Like, one, is thin just a sign that we're evil, like in Starship Troopers?
You're conservative now. Being fit, being thin, going to a gym, people talk about all of these as like negative signs. It's like, there's like the posts about how to know if your kid is getting influenced by red pill ideology. And it's like, is he working out? Is he masturbating less?
I don't know. No, because she talks about how we wear nerdy glasses and are thin, and therefore people think that we're liberal. I think she thinks that MAGA people are fat, which also doesn't make sense.
As a fat Mexican, I take offense to that.
I don't know. But anyway, very strange. And she says, but of course, the ruse is a millimeter thick. And not just because they love Donald Trump. Despite the couple's empty claims to have an egalitarian marriage, they admit Simone Collins does most of the childcare and housework with the usual false claims that women are intrinsically better at these tasks. Bitch! How many men do you know who really, really can do laundry and dishes and cleaning house well?
The type of men who she pegs do. The type of men who she pegs do.
I mean, Malcolm, I love you, but you're just so bad. You're so bad at it.
And then she's like, wait, you're supposed to use soap in that. And I'm like, it looks fine without it. Look, it smells.
Literally, Malcolm's response when I like hold something up and I'm like, this is unacceptable. He's like, it's not going to make you sick. That is his excuse. That is his standard.
That's the point of cleaning.
His standard of cleanliness is, will it make you sick? If not, it's fine. So
I'm glad you understand, Simone.
So disgusting. I can't. And by the way, also we do, and like this is also a complete misstatement. You, like a big common thing that we constantly share, this is very well documented, is that the only reason I chose to have kids was because you were willing to always do 100% up to 100% of childcare.
I never did anything.
That's not true. You always take the kids to the doctor. You always pick them up. You always drive them around. You're the one who takes them to all these things. You go to all the parent meeting things. I don't do that. And we I handle a lot of in-house stuff because that's what's easiest for me to handle. And it bothers me that she says this, but we do obviously find that we as a couple, and this is not universal, tend to gravitate toward more feminine and masculine roles when it comes to.
Like, it's not true that women are better at cleaning and doing laundry. And I'm like, well, I don't know what women you've dated, but I have found that they are much better at those tasks.
Yeah,
Honestly, I'm in my library. There are pants on my floor. There's an unmade bed in my library. I want to be very clear. This was my office. This is now my library. There's no reason for there to be pants on the floor, for there to be an unmade bed. I used to have a couch in here. At least the couch I didn't have to make. Yeah.
I don't.
Do you think this woman just like lives in a pigsty? Like she lives like Asmongold or something? Just crawling over her bed?
She seems just like artsy. She seems
married, by the way. She looks like
she's
a
married.
Years old. She compared to the way she dresses, it's really uncomfortable. Like Simone thought she was trans at first because she looks really. If we're going to talk about looks here,
no, Malcolm.
She looks like a 55-year-old pretending to be a 23-year-old.
Malcolm, I'm the one who looks like the crypt keeper. Like, let's be honest. Oh no.
No, you look like a sexy Nosferatu, which is fine. He looks like a weird perv / lackey. You're like a vampire and he's your thrall. That's fine. That's a healthy relationship. A little Addams family, but that's fine.
No, she doesn't have a husband. She's a boyfriend. Wait, in 2024, that her boyfriend is Mark Folletti, who quote owns a record store called Latchkey in Philadelphia, and that she has 3 cats. She is a mother of 3 cats.
Mother of 3 cats. She birthed these cats.
I imagine she believes that
I have 4 cats. Okay.
Female skill with cooking and cleaning is entirely societally based. She's probably.
I have 2 cats that are over 20 years old. I have 1 cat that's 3 years old. And I may or may not adopt the cat that my dad's taking care of right now that we were supposed to adopt out to the nice lesbian couple right behind my house. And they didn't take it. So I'm stuck with a little tiny kitten. That's okay. She fucked me up this weekend.
Slightest, I'm going to think. And it's we were much more blank slightest until we had kids. Admit it. You know this to be true.
Yeah, even knowing the research, I didn't understand how much your personality is cooked.
Yeah, we're like, whoa.
Personality and gender are completely cooked in at birth. It is shocking if you have kids.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think that's why it's really hard to come across a parent of 3+ kids and have them espouse blank slightest views because they're like, no. And you get a different role of the.
I bet she's got a blank slightest when it comes to cats. She's like,
a really
cat's
funny thing.
Personality is at birth. It's just humans.
Yeah, people talking about like dog breeds being like, yeah, humans blank slightest, and they like spend tons of time talking about different dog breeds and how they're like.
Okay, continue.
Right. They also brag about how much money they put into genetic testing and IVF treatments to get the best babies, which is not only overtly eugenicist, but cuts against their claim that they want everyone to have more babies. Most people neither have the money nor time to spend on such nonsense.
She wants us using this experimental technology on poor children first. That's the key.
No,
she wants experimental medical technology.
No one should ever use this. Because this is only something that evil mad scientists use because she doesn't understand the technology. And 1, she doesn't understand what eugenics is because any couple personally looking at a variety of different traits and deciding on which embryos to have first based on those is clearly not practicing eugenics, which by definition, look at the Wikipedia article, requires a belief that there are good and bad genes and also a belief that you should maximize and minimize those genes respectively on a society-wide level, which we're very vehemently against. But she would never take that time to understand that. That would require too much time away from the cats.
We support Trump. We must be Nazis. That's the way. If you disagree with these people politically, you're immediately a Nazi.
Apparently.
No, but continue.
She writes, the Post profile overlooked it, but Hope Not Hate dug even deeper and found the couple has suggested women not be allowed to own property, lambasted programs to reduce racial discrimination in hiring, and falsely suggested IQ scores are dropping as the U.S. population becomes more racially diverse.
Okay, so we've got every one of these points is fictional. So, well, not everyone. One of them is just true, but like obviously, like first of all, she goes on to be like, look at the Flynn effect. IQ is rising, and I'm like, the reverse Flynn effect has been a phenomenon since the 80s.
Well, no, she's of the same mindset of the population bomb. Like clearly, she like took in all the information shortly after she was born, and then like went offline.
No, clearly, because she was born in the 20s.
No, she was born in 1977.
Oh, she was. Wait,
yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. So anyway, so first, We have never ever said that IQ is dropping because of racial differences in the country. We've said it's because dumb people are having more kids than smart people. We're very idiocracy about this. Like, it's not less offensive, but just get the offensive thing right. It's not an ethno thing. Then what was the other? Oh yes, that I said that women shouldn't be allowed to have money. No, the
property.
I like them bickering. This is just cute.
At the results of, I think, Swedish lottery winners.
No. So the entire episode that's based on, the point of it was that this data should not be taken to mean that women shouldn't be allowed to own property, but that specifically if you are doing cash handouts, the actual quote line that she took came from right before that. I said, if you are doing government cash handouts intended to increase fertility rates, don't give the money to women. Where she then took that to mean women shouldn't be allowed to own money. Intentionally, like, this is Salon, this is the mainstream organization, intentionally lying to and attempting to manipulate the reader. And then what was the other point in here? She had 3, I remember.
Own property. Oh, we lambasted programs to reduce racial discrimination.
Yes, DEI. We hate DEI. Everybody hates DEI. What's wrong with you? You're asking anti-DEI as being pro-racist. DEI is racism. It's a systemic system for discrimination based on gender, ethnicity, and sexual preference. That's racism.
Amanda and the cats vehemently disagree with you.
Okay.
So what else does she say? Yeah, right. She believes the Flynn effect. Quote, "You do not want to give money to women," unquote. Malcolm Collins declared on one podcast. And she just
that's specifically, if you want to increase fertility rates and you're a government, you do not want to give money to women. What's the full line there? But anyway, continue.
Yeah. She continues, "But what's viscerally creepy in the Post report is how fixated the couple is on imagining Simone's death in childbirth." Quote, "I'm happy to die in labor," she declared dramatically, an especially weird statement because she delivered all 4 of her children via C-section. Yeah, lady, how... When you have that many layers if you cut open, it's kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
Does she not think that birth is... Like, I actually am genuinely wondering, like, what's her point? Does she not think that birth is risky, or does she not think...
Well, maybe she thinks C-sections... Either she acknowledges that C-sections are risky and is like, why is she being so blasé about the fact that she's doing this risky thing? Or she thinks that C-sections are not risky, in which case... she's not aware of what happens in like major surgeries, and there's always some kind of complications. Something you can start hemorrhaging. You know, it's not a huge risk, but it's a risk. And the point that, 1, I didn't say it dramatically. I said it matter of fact. And 2, it was in the context of us explaining, trying to sort of frame that we have values in life and are willing to die for something. I don't think Amanda Marcotte is willing to die for anything, because I don't think that she really has any inherent values aside from if she has values that are like above just her immediate comfort and interests and needs, it would probably be something vaguely tied to negative utilitarianism.
No. This is somebody who believes that our government is literally being taken over by Nazis right now. Yeah. So you can see exactly what she would do if her government was being taken over by Nazis. Nothing. Which means that she has no value system.
Malcolm, she makes money from shilling articles about how the government is being taken over by Nazis.
Well, how is she going to make any money now that USAID is shut down? We now know that they were funding all this shit. Like, how is she going to make any money? How's she going to make... But no, clearly the Salon doesn't have fact checkers anymore, which is nice. You know, just get rid of all that.
Times are tough, Malcolm. Anyway, she talks about you. Malcolm Collins also fantasizes about his currently pregnant wife's death, seemingly gloating that, quote, she's putting her life on the line, unquote. They deliberately inject unnecessary physical suffering into her pregnancies, including the use of IVF, an incredibly taxing and painful process, for the strict purpose of genetic engineering. Lady, I can't have kids naturally. I'm infertile. And necessarily?
You could read our Wikipedia article and know this. Like, this does not require much research to know. Did she guess? Like, did she think, I should probably check if she's infertile, because this is going to be really bad if I said that her husband is forcing her to do this. Yeah. And it turns out that no, her husband is actually undergoing pretty big sacrifices because she's doing this. And that how can you be so delusional to not see when a husband is like, I appreciate the sacrifices my wife is making from that statement, and instead think that I am like getting like excited
the
about
mere
the
fact that you acknowledge yeah.
I want to be very, very clear here. I do not get excited about the idea of my wife dying, only turned on. I'm joking. We gotta have them clip that.
Wow, you are just giving people so many beautiful little breadcrumbs here.
Simone. Do not
but also
future biofuel.
IVF is not an incredibly taxing and painful process. I repeat, It is not. The only time I've cried during IVF, and this is true, so financially, IVF is extremely painful, is because of the money. I've cried in the doctor's offices because of the money.
I've seen those needles you do. The only reason it's not painful for you is because your mind is built like a tank. You're like a sidekick that like goes in for me and then beats up an entire room, and you're like, that was easy. These needles.
Well, no, so
the needle part is like this big. Let's go all the way into the muscle.
They're intramuscular injections. Yeah,
you do it every day. You're for like a month.
No, I think longer than a month. It went on forever the last time. And I'm obviously doing it now. But I figured out the trick. And by the way, if you're doing these intramuscular injections, especially if your house is a little bit cold, and ours is, sit for an hour with the vial in your pocket or in your bra if you're wearing one to warm it up. And you will not have the long-term pain. So I used to think that you had to inject yourself and then massage in the oil. And I would still be sore like the entire next day at the injection site. No, the oil just needs to be warm. You need to inject warm oil and just body temperature.
So, for those that don't know about me and, I don't know whether to call her my wife or ex-wife or the person in my life, but this is something that me and her are going through. She had part of the reason for her wanting a divorce is that me and her can't have a kid because she only has one tube. She had a cyst on one ovary, so they took out that ovary. She wants me to have a kid, and since I can't have a kid with her, you know, she's pushing for a divorce. And there is a solution. We can do IVF. We can do these programs. And even though it's, you know, magisterium teaches against it, it's something that, you know, if these treatments, not IVF, but if the pregnancy treatment is just something I'd be willing to do. My wife, my ex-wife, whatever you want to call her, my person in my life doesn't want to do the treatment because she says it's extremely painful. And so, yeah, this is very relevant.
Temperature warmth, like it makes it so much less uncomfortable. But to your point about
this hurt for days afterwards, you're doing this for months. You go through.
Yes, but yes, I do. So she writes about this.
And
she says,
Clearly, I'm gloating about it. And
yes, he says he even brags about her ability to withstand pain and gore. It's just an amped up version of the same romanticization of female sacrifice. It's endemic in conservative circles, where what makes women good is how much self-subjugation she can endure. No, like what's actually going on between us is we are nerds, okay? And we did full genomic sequences on Nebula Genomics. And I have to pull up the screenshots, but Malcolm's polygenic score for pain tolerance is exceedingly low.
It's like 1%, and you're
it's like flick you, and you're like.
I'm just getting a text from her right now. She wants me to go watch a movie, Niza 2. And it's going to be playing at my theater, which everybody just saw not my address, but everybody just saw my first name and my area code. It's going to be playing in my area code. Area code? No, in my zip code. I guess tomorrow? Let me find out. I'm going to mute you guys for a minute, okay? She wants me to go watch a movie that my stepson liked. It's an anime, Chinese anime.
Like, I've been named.
No, hold on. No. Stop. What she's
But this situation here is part of the reason for the divorce. So, this other person that they're talking about doing the interview, I think it's kind of a joke. But this is a little bit too inside for this is too much inside baseball. So I think let's jump onto their other video, and then we'll go to Asmongold.
Celebrated organization.
We found a video of the Doge meeting with USAID's team.
Give us a little more information surrounding the deficits that you're running this year.
Ooh, gosh. We don't really.
Okay,
it's
yes.
the story about the U.S. government funding media organizations, like the $4 million to the New York Times, the $8 million to Politico.
Okay.
If you look at this, there was a few sort of misconceptions that are bundled in the way this is presented.
All
It's
right.
presented as if this is only coming from USAID, which
Okay.
actually isn't true. The money that came from USAID, for example, last year for Politico was $25,000.
Oh.
Now, when I hear $25,000 and I hear this is for the special subscription, keep in mind this isn't for like the public subscription.
Like
this is for
premium
subscription.
business subscription with
This is supposed to be
analytics
for
and
like analysts, similar to what you would get was like, God, what's that report that I used to read?
Bloomberg. They had like, I think many people who went to business schools.
Zihan used to work for them.
I was thinking of the Stratford report, which costs like $1,000 a year, depending on what subscription you're using.
But they're like,
Well,
just
anything. I'm thinking about Bloomberg subscriptions and Bloomberg terminals at business schools that I went to, and those were like really expensive. It was such a big deal to have a Bloomberg
you know
terminal.
what I'm saying?
so.
It's a waste of government money, but I do not think that they were explicitly paying for stories.
It was premium subscription, so they were supporting the organizations, though.
Yes.
They weren't
They were
using the
supporting-
full.
They could definitely go back and renegotiate. But also the for example, the numbers cited, like the 8 million weren't in the 1 year, right?
Another part of the story that I've seen reported in a few places that is just a complete fabrication based on a manipulated video is that some celebrities were paid by USAID to go to the Ukraine to attempt to
Yeah, Alia got funded, which is like totally trippy.
improve the U.S. public's opinion of Zelensky. That did not happen. Those celebrities went on their own money or were using UN money.
So this is me saying some of this stuff is less bad than we thought it was. Others, where they will say something like well, we'll get to that later. Actually, I'm not going to get to any of that. The first thing I actually wanted to go into was 2 points in this. One, I want to read an article about the way the left is framing this and the way the left is freaking out about this. That I think was written about by the woman who did that freak out about us just yesterday for Salon. She published to her like private blue sky in an unsearchable way. She does these like images, so they're really hard to find. Because after I saw this the first time, it took me forever to find it again. But the second, and I want to get ahead of this, is the argument for USAID. Because I think the argument for USAID, before we get into all the ridiculousness, just to steelman it, is on its face a really, really bad argument.
Okay, why?
So the pragmatic argument for USAID is that, look, you've got China doing soft power in places like Africa. Africa is where the majority of the USAID money was going. Keep in mind, this is $50 billion a year that they're getting. And when people are like, oh, Elon's like an unelected person. Well, these people I didn't vote for the stuff that USAID is doing, and we'll get to it. It's crazy. But they're like, this is building us good relations with Africa to help fight China, right? And I'm like, no, it's not. Are you out of your mind? China is going in, getting influential government officials. You can interview people on the ground. We've been in secret meetings where we talk with government officials who have like gotten reports from what's happening in Africa. Africa does not trust the U.S. They do not like when people just walk into their community and are like, I got the shots, just take the shots, stop asking questions. There is not a belief that these organizations are doing well by them. They're just attempting to force things on them. And you'll see with all this like LGBT stuff, all this promoting atheism. Yes, they literally tried to promote atheism in a non-atheist country. This is pissing off the...
It's money from the USA that goes to specific groups and nations to help them develop. We give money to China. We give money to Israel, and it's to fund certain projects. It's different projects, and not every project is the same. Also, not every project has the same goal, and some of the goals are actually counterproductive or counter to each other. So, for instance, giving condoms out or stuff like that, even though we now say that we didn't do that, but we did. It's whether or not the taxpayers actually paid or whether we were just doing stuff like that. Did you hear my explanation? So it's sometimes taxpayer funds, sometimes money gifted by government officials, sometimes it's just the government does the facilitating, but private people send the money, but we're still spending tax money on the ambassadors and facilitators to do this work. And basically, we send money to different groups for different things, and sometimes they're counterproductive. So, like, building water wells or planting trees, condoms, safe sex, teaching about safe sex in places where there's high AIDS rates, that kind of stuff.
Local people. This is not endearing us to these local people. Maybe in the past, USAID had some things where they were like helping our relations with people, but not today.
Yeah, it's funny how my impression overwhelmingly, especially of US-based aid work in Africa, for example, is just blanket suspicion of it, conspiracy theories. You're trying to measure us. You're trying to sterilize us.
You
You're
probably
trying to
are.
poison us. Yeah, and that's the thing is like I imagine that there is actually a lot of like measurement and research being done on populations in these areas. So, I mean, like, I've never thought of it as getting us ahead. I always thought of it as making maybe some positive difference. But in a New York Times op-ed that I just read of the former head of USAID under the Biden administration, she only described one program in the entire article that saved lives. And the rest of it was about this argument, this thesis that if you do nice things to other countries, they're more likely to be compliant when you need to put peacekeepers on the ground or something similar. So it seems
like if you put wokeness in video games, gamers are going to like you more. No, they'll hate you. They will declare a fatwa on you and everything you have ever stood for. And then in the
I wanted to buy a luck dragon, and my wife wouldn't let me, and said she bought these little dragon pins. But a luck dragon would have been so much cooler.
She complains, as you mentioned, and she's like, and 100 people have died in the last few years, USAID workers.
No. I think in total, but this should be a unanimously celebrated organization. If they're being killed, either there's very terrible mismanagement or they're in areas where people are very hostile toward them. And if people who are receiving aid from you are so threatened by you that they will end up killing you, you're clearly not doing your job. Like, get out. The mission is failing. This is not working. It's not. Yeah, even if you're trying to deliver life-saving malaria treatment or HIV treatment, if the people in the area think you're trying to poison them, you really just shouldn't be there. Like, your money is going is like 0.1% effective when some other organization would be way more.
When China's out there building bridges for them and building ports for them and building.
Well, and there are ways to deliver like HIV medication, but when you are a very mistrusted entity, you shouldn't be the one to deliver it. You know what I mean?
And what's worse about...
Well, the thing is, and by the way, your comment got blocked, so no one else has seen it but me. But I have it in the widget, so the people watching can see it if they want to read it. Yeah, no, I mean, foreign aid has often been used as both a cudgel and carrot, the stick and carrot thing. It is manipulation. That is what it is. Right now, we have the biggest pocketbook, so we're the ones spending the money. If everybody starts collecting debt, the rumor, at least back 20 years ago, is that China would actually be the richest country in the world if everybody's debt started having to be paid off.
About this is USAID worked separately and did not have ties to the State Department, so they would frequently do things specifically designed to undermine the State Department's agenda if they felt that the State Department's agenda did not align with whatever they were attempting to push.
Oh wait, so not even like friendly fire, ships crossing in the night, like not realizing that they were undermining their work, but actively undermining their work?
Actively, because they believed that their work was to push, a woke worldview, which we'll get into in just a second.
Oh my gosh.
But more than this, I want to start with the Democrat freak out against this, because I love this article because I think it helps get in their mind space, okay?
Okay.
So she goes, Musk's goal is to remake America in his own petty, selfish image. There are many reasons why Musk is using USAID as a test case to see if he can appoint himself as dictator without pushback from Congress. As Ann Applebaum says, foreign aid isn't popular with voters, most of whom don't understand it. Or maybe they do and they just don't like it. But okay, continue. So it's low-hanging fruit politically. If Musk and the MAGA forces get away with this, they'll rapidly expand, curtailing or shutting down more popular programs, such as funding for healthcare services or food assistance. Yay!
Ding dong! It's America, motherfucker!
You have a little flags in the background. But continue. But I also think that there is a psychological angle to Musk's eagerness to demonize USAID. He loathes a reminder that, contrary to his philosophy, good people do exist, and not everyone acts solely out of self-interest. Musk has long treated altruism as fiction. He seems to hold the view that people never do good things for good reasons, only because they wish to exploit others. I think often of how Musk, so blah, 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 blah here, but what I love about this is a complete inability to understand that these people working at USAID who are using other people's money to promote their own agenda are not philanthropists.
Yeah.
Like, they have essentially stolen $50 billion a year, not just because when you say U.S. taxpayer, it hides that this is coming from the U.S. government not helping people after floods. This is coming from the current situation we have in California right now. This is money that could have been spent on helping U.S. citizens who do not have the cash right now in the programs that they need to save lives. And it's being spent with literally no hope of advancing any American agenda. This is 100%, like the idea that Musk is mad that these people are do-gooders. These people are not do-gooders. If I go up and steal money from somebody, because these are unelected officials, right? Steal money from somebody, use it where I take, let's say, 90% of it, and I use it to promote my religion, because that's what this is for a lot of these people. Most Americans don't agree with this. And then I pocket the other 10%. I'm not a hero. I just pocketed 10% of the money and then use the rest to promote my weird cult.
Yeah, not good.
But people can say, "Oh well, this isn't about promoting my weird cult." So, by the way, a meme here that I need to share with the public that I love with these leftists right now, because they keep thinking I've been going on all these leftist sites that the right is panicking about what Trump's doing now, that we don't love this. And the meme was, and this was posted on our Idiocracy, so they thought that like they had owned the right with this. So it's a guy saying, "Feeling buyer's remorse for MAGA? Don't blame us, MAGA. We tried to warn you, MAGA." Heh. Every MAGA now, and it's the guy from The Office saying, "I really couldn't be happier." And then under it, somebody had reposted this with, "In the history of getting what I voted for, I have never gotten so much of exactly what I voted for."
But seriously,
more than I've gotten in the past 2 weeks. Yes, I voted for all of this. Every tariff, every deportation, every crying bureaucrat, every grant canceled, all of it. And Asmongold did a great piece on this where he had that woman who was running all of this, right? And he was like, "I am so glad that you are sad about this." Because she goes out there and she's like, "Oh, people don't understand. They act like we're woke extremists. And it's so sad that people are losing their jobs because the general public just doesn't understand what we did." And so I want to go into what they did. And I also want to go into the counter arguments to some of these. But let's just broadly go over the stats that I was more able to verify. And we'll get to the ones where I think that there is some question in this, okay?
Okay.
So, the funds included $7.9 million to teach Sri Lankan journalists how to avoid gender binary language.
Oh boy.
$7.9 million. Now I will note here, and we'll get into this program more because this is one where I had some questions. That was one thing that a program did that did a few things.
Okay.
So it wasn't exactly that, but we'll get into it. It is still pretty bad. $2 million for sex changes in LGBT activism in Guatemala. Fact check this, couldn't find anything saying that this wasn't what they were doing, but my guess is that some of it at least went to sex changes, but rest of it was probably to normalize stuff. $1.1 million to an Armenian LGBT group. $1.5 million to promote LGBT advocacy in Jamaica. Now, by the way, do you think that Jamaica, if you know like your average Jamaican, that they like the US more because we are paying to support LGBT advocacy in their country? Do you think your average Armenian is more positively disposed to the United States because we're paying to promote this religion within their country? No. This is
not helping diplomacy-wise. Yeah, this is like, wait, you are actively trying to manipulate and undermine my culture. What are you doing?
Yeah, why do they not trust you when then you come with the shots for their kids and you say, "Trust me, this will help"? I wouldn't trust you either, people. We don't trust you in the United States anymore. Okay? $2 million to promote LGBT equality through entrepreneurship in Latin America. $3.9 million for LGBT causes in the Western Balkans. Again, not a place that's likely to be positively disposed to this. $3.9 million. $5.5 million for LGBT activism in Uganda. I guarantee you the people of Uganda are not happy about that. You did not make any friends by doing that. $6 million for advancing LGBT issues in priority countries around the world, with $6.3 million for men who have sex with men in Africa. I'm assuming that was probably an AIDS organization there.
Yeah.
Apart from this, $25 million to Deloitte. So just like accountant advisor type people to promote green transportation in Georgia.
In Georgia. Okay.
In Georgia. $6 million to transform digital spaces to reflect feminist democratic principles.
Feminist democratic.
$6 million to transform public spaces, probably for art projects is my guess here. In digital spaces. So this is what we've been going to like feminist frequency type stuff. Now, feminist frequency, there's been a misleading picture going around. They didn't get money from the government. They got money from somebody else. But yeah, terrible, terrible people, feminist frequency. $1.3 million. This one I actually don't. Oh, no, yeah, this is bad. To Arab and Jewish photographers. These are for like, don't hate the Jews, don't hate the Arabs campaigns, you know, those sorts of things. Or it's probably hate the Jews, the Arabs are awesome campaigns. You know how this always goes with these people. And $8.3 million from USAID Education, Equity, and Inclusion. They also funded a $4.5 million to combat quote unquote disinformation in Kazakhstan. You know what that means? Fight conservative value systems. Hold on, that's not all. That's just what the Trump administration put out there, and we're going to get into like counters to all of these. $14 million in cash vouchers for migrants at the southern border through the State Department. That's one we're going to double.
Oh, yeah, we've heard a lot about those. Like leading up to the election, people were alarmed about these like debit cards being given to people
from USAID. This is one of the ones that gets worse as you dig into it.
Okay.
$3.2 million to help Tunisian migrants readjust to life in Tunisia under deportation. Turns out they were being sold into slavery. So that was fun. Not awesome. You can tell I've been watching to too much Nuxenor today, where I'm doing his voice accidentally. He is my favorite spectral Jew. He's got a little thing there. All right. So $2.5 million to build electric vehicle charging stations in Vietnam's largest cities.
Me and this guy have way too much in common.
Endearing these people to us. This isn't building infrastructure that helps these countries. This is about promoting the woke religion, which sees like environmentalism and LGBTism as like its core belief, even when it doesn't make sense or when it's not practical within a region or when there's no cars there, for example, that run on these systems. Around $500,000 to help Indonesian coffee companies become more climate and gender friendly.
More gender friendly.
Yeah,
coffee companies.
Yes, coffee companies in Indonesia.
Okay, sorry. Good. Yeah, there are too many questions.
$3.3 million to an organization called Being LGBTQ in the Caribbean. $1.5 million to promote job opportunities for LGBTQ individuals in Serbia. And keep in mind, this is money that could have been saving lives in the United States.
Yeah.
How many little kids died? How many people are still homeless after floods or fires because we had unelected officials blowing this money, and now they're up in arms about, oh my God, I lost my job after this grift.
One of the listeners of this podcast pointed out to me, just welcome to the corporate world. People are fired in the corporate world at any point for any reason.
How could I be fired for doing something that angers more than half of the country?
Yeah, whereas like you can make one person angry in the corporate world. You can have one bad, mistake that you make and you're gone. And these people are shocked.
And undermining America's interests. Your job was to help America's interests, not undermine America's interests. Yeah. If you are somebody in the department and you're like, well, my side of the department wasn't doing this. Well, surely you knew that stuff like this might be happening. Why didn't you do an investigation? Why weren't you the whistleblower? Why did Musk have to come in and handle all of this? Yeah. And the heroism of Musk and his teams, the Musk tweens, they went to these offices. The guys at the front office say, we're going to arrest you. We're not going to let you in the buildings. And they got like the little kids. Musk wasn't even there this day.
20-year-olds. Come on,
like, they're not me in the building, you a-holes. If you saw our video, these guys are like super geniuses. Like deciphering scrolls using like AI that were like burnt in Pompeii. Absolute super geniuses. I feel so bad for them. They're getting called murderers. See our other video on this.
Yeah, one actually resigned after accusations of historical social media posts that were racist. And JD Vance is trying to say, like, no, come back. Like, no, you shouldn't be forced to resign based on dumb stuff.
Something that happened in the past. Yeah, I agree with this. People change. If he's not actively a racist, whatever, right? Like, how do you convince anyone to ever not be a racist if the moment they are at any point a racist for the next 50 years, like Nick Bostrom or whatever?
Oh, and if you're trying to fire a 20-year-old for something they said as a teen online, that's
like an early teen. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
you say edgy things. Okay,
there should be a social norm where anything you post before age 25.
So these teens are trying to get in the building, and they had to threaten to bring in the marshals because the guards of the building wouldn't let them in. And then they get in the building, everyone's being hostile to them, basically spitting on them everywhere they go, basically bullying them. They had to have guards go in and force some people to resign because they were being so mean to these little kids. These little super geniuses that you've seen from other videos. But I want to keep going here. $16.5 thousand to foster a, quote, united and equal queer feminist discourse in Albanian society. Oh, I'm sure that earned us a lot of friends in Albanian society.
Yeah. Well.
$8,000 to promote DEI among LGBT groups in Cyprus. Around $500,000 to promote the expansion of atheism in Nepal. That's one we're going to double click on because that one was effing insane.
Well, yeah. So so many of these efforts aren't just antagonistic to the countries being targeted, but they're not representative of the culture of a huge swath of Americans. It's only representative of the culture
about spreading the cult.
It's just really screwed up though. Like, it'd be one thing if we were like a woke caliphate, where like we all agreed, like this was all of us. But
they thought we were a woke caliphate. They thought everyone who wasn't woke is like a deserving underclass. They are the deplorables. They are the horrifying individuals. Like the woman, when she wrote the piece on us yesterday, she's like, if you saw them, they're skinny, they're attractive, they're educated, you would never guess that they're MAGA. And it's like, what do you mean you never guess that they're MAGA? We look like normal people and we don't have horns growing out of our heads? Like, you clearly think of MAGA as like inhuman in your mind. You are horrified that somebody who's educated never thinks like, hey, let's get to MAGA-ing. But okay, so $1 million to boost French-speaking LGBT groups in West and Central Africa. Again, that's going to make these places hate us, and that isn't what your average American wants. Like, you cannot argue this helped American interests at all. If you didn't want to spread the cult, your money shouldn't have been going to this. This organization needs to be shut down. As Mutt said, it's not an apple with a worm in it; it's a ball of worms.
Yeah.
All right, let's double click on some of these because I thought they were interesting here.
Okay. Yes.
So the $47,000 for the transgender opera in Colombia, because this is one that's been going around a lot.
Was it good or was it Wait, what was like the review in the IT crowd? Like,
So it was an opera about a trans person living in like rural New York's like life. It was done 3 times, was in an opera house. It's not like they built an opera house or anything, but not that you could for $47,000. And it turns out that less of the money than we thought went to it. $25,000 that went to it was from USAID. $22,000 that went to it was not funded by the federal government, but was funded by the nonpartisan, well, not nonpartisan, obviously, Albertan Journalism Institute. And what it was, quote unquote, really going to was funding the department that then ended up hosting this stuff. When they gave the money to the department, they said that they're giving the money to, quote, expand and strengthen the relationship between the people and the government of the United States and the citizens of the rest of the world. So basically, they just gave them a blank check to do whatever they want. They knew these people were woke. They did woke shit. So people are like, oh, this isn't as bad. Well, that's pretty bad because that's a blank check if I've ever heard of one. And they knew from the past behavior of this department what the department was going to do, which was host trans operas.
yeah, no one goes to the opera anymore either. Like, you're not going to change minds with the opera. I know. And now I'm just picturing was it South Park where it was like AIDS, AIDS, AIDS.
Yeah.
Everybody has AIDS.
That's not South Park. You're thinking of Team America World Police.
Team America, that's it.
And so this is the end of our story. And everyone is dead from AIDS.
In Ecuador, that seems about what a drag show would cost to put on.
No, wait, just one? Just one?
No, I think it was a series of drag shows in Ecuador.
I don't know. I mean, like, I imagine that, like, the drag brunches that we've gone to, I think they just run totally on tips.
Yeah, so, but I mean, this is different because in Ecuador, maybe they don't want them doing this as much. So we got $80,000 for LGBT Community Center in Bratislava, Slovakia. Oh, so they get a building out of this. That's great. And now everyone's going to know that that's not going to earn up.
Let's see. We'll check out his clips channel, and then we'll check out the videos, and then we're going to be done for the night. I don't know if this is going to have the one I'm looking for. Where are we? 50 plus. Let's see. I think it was this one. But let me see if there's anything else.
Wait, what? Wait, Gulf of America Day?
Thank you very much, everybody.
What?
He was great. He's a great guy. He's very sad over his mother's passing. He's a great guy.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Brett, so you just heard the
We are now about to head westbound to Super Bowl 59.
remarks regarding this news. I'd like to play it for you. Next.
Is it? Oh my God.
On one hand, this is so childish and so what a teenager would do. On the other hand, it is kind of fucking cool. It's such a dick move.
What the fuck?
All right, well, you have it. A short video there from President Donald Trump.
Theft, by the way. And the day you're not allowed to look for theft and fraud, etc., then we don't have much of a country. So no judge should frankly be allowed to make that kind of a decision.
At all.
Cars, trucks, etc., what they make, they're not viable as a country. Would you agree that?
Why did you do that?
Who? I'm sorry.
You were going to meet with first responders today.
Yeah.
But you pardoned people who assaulted first responders.
No, I pardoned people that were assaulted themselves. They were going to. I don't want you.
They keep everybody on a always on the up and up. Everybody
use of pardon power. I don't know, but that is his constitutional power. Again,
how they're going to.
The
most scary man in the world. Now, I did not.
I
said, look, I'm not a fan of what you did with Hawk. I have so many questions.
Okay, let me see. I think we're good. Let me check. I think we might be done for the night. Yeah, I think we're done. Okay. All right. So this was a short stream, but it was supposed to be. We're going to do the streams. We're going to cut them down to about an hour, unless it's like something super interesting happening. Do expect an announcement on Friday. I know Friday I don't usually stream, but this Friday I will stream and we'll have a special announcement. We are going to stream every night this week if I can, if I don't fall asleep when I get home. Tomorrow I'm working a double. Let's see how I do tomorrow night. But it was fun talking to you all. Let's get on to the music, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Yeah.
Got a monster inside of me. You better watch out if your enemy's a road ahead of full prophecy to be the greatest beast the world has ever seen. I feed him every day like the bones clean. I feed him all the hate and he grows me. And he gets cause real big, pissed off quick. And if you cross him, you might drop dead. Metaphorically, of course, settling the score, never getting bored. Loves the blood and gold. Always wanting more freedom from the source. They don't really listen until they feel the force of body. And if you start shit, you'll be heartless in the darkness. Torn apart quick, you left scars ripped. You'll be chewed up and discarded. And this world ain't right, won't accept it. Negative energy, I expect it. Once it's in your mind, it's infectious. So fight for your life and reject it.